If they look up my charge, it says trafficking heroin.
When did you traffic heroin?
Never.
William Forrester is serving a sentence he did not deserve, according to state leaders, watchdogs, and even the judge who sentenced him.
I just squatted down in the corner and cried.
This 62-year-old man from Bradenton cries a lot. 16 years ago, doctors discovered he had cancer, and they cut out his lung.
Then, after that surgery, you were in a world of hurt.
I was in so much pain
That was just the start.
because they had to go in 2 more times. I spent almost a whole year in the hospital.
Then doctors loaded him up with pills.
I would go get my prescriptions filled, and just the methadone at that time come in jugs like this, and I would take 12 a day.
That brings us to his crime 10 years ago.
One of the prescriptions had run out and they wouldn't refill it. It wasn't time, it was too early.
Because you took too many, ran out.
Because I took too many and I ran out early.
He forged a prescription to carry him through until the next month.
You had forged the prescription in July.
In July, yes, sir.
When did you get a legal prescription for that same medication?
It would have been August the next month. About 3 months later, they come and arrested me. After she had continued to fill the prescriptions after that.
Under Florida law, that's drug trafficking, even though he never trafficked a pill.
I took the pills. They were for me.
So you trafficked them to yourself?
I trafficked them to myself, if you want to call it that, yes, sir. I never thought of that, yes, sir.
And under Florida law, that's a minimum of 15 years in prison. The judge called the sentence excessive, but said his hands were tied by the legislature.
That removes all the discretion from the judge. And so it doesn't let him look at the facts of the individual underlying facts of the case.
Republican State Senator Jeff Brandes says the legislature has abused justice and burned taxpayers in this way for years.
They were legislating by slogans, and you heard this 85%, 10-20 life, 3 strikes you're out. Those types of slogans kind of got into the lexicon and were easy for legislators to push forward. That is probably good marketing. It's horrible public policy because it removes all the discretion.
William Forrester is not alone. Mary Nowling is a disabled 66-year-old grandmother in a Hernando County prison. She's also serving time meant for drug kingpins.
Are you a drug kingpin?
No. No.
First, burglars broke into her home and beat her.
The guys jumped up with ski masks and gloves and guns. He grabbed me around my throat, pulled me in the house.
What did they do to you?
They took a 9mm and smashed me in the face like that.
That fueled her anxiety and depression.
And I lost my home, and I lost my mind.
You were homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Then a young man invited her to stay in his home.
We didn't have like a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
What do you think he was interested in offering you a place to stay?
My pain pills.
He asked her to sell her pain pills to a friend who turned out to be an informant.
All rise, come north.
She also got 15 years. She said her judge shuddered as he gave out the sentence.
Took it right out of his hands. He went,
Like many snared for drug trafficking, she's a relatively low-level offender who is mentally ill, disabled, and poor.
they're taking mothers away from their children. They might be poor mothers. That's still better than no mother. The legislators that make these laws, they don't realize what they're doing.
Senator Brandes agrees, and he's leading a bipartisan push for reform.
So for me, it's allowing judges to have the ability to go below the mandatory minimums when the case deserves it, when justice demands it.
Conservative and progressive activists, Republicans and Democrats in the legislature want reform.
All rise, come
And
north.
yet this year, the bill to give judges more discretion failed.
Largely they fail because there are still groups out there that want to maintain all the discretion with the prosecutors.
Meanwhile, William Forrester's judge noted we're paying more than $58 a day to keep him in prison.
So they spent $200,000 to keep me in here for 10 years.
That's not counting his prescriptions and trips to the hospital.
And then the second time I went, I was coughing up blood.
A cancer survivor with a missing lung has a tendency to catch pneumonia.
I've seen people that have robbed banks, child molesting. I mean, some horrible crimes that get under 15 years.
Meanwhile, we're paying another $58 a day to keep Mary Nowling in prison, plus her medicine, and hundreds, if not thousands of others who fit the same profile. A state report found most of Florida's oxy and hydrocodone trafficking convictions were for the equivalent of 1 or 2 prescriptions.
So you don't have a cartel?
No, I'm not exactly sure what a cartel is.
She just wants to meet her grandkids who live too far away to visit.
I just want to hold all of them at once.
Who keeps sending her letters asking for Granny.
I would love to read to them. I would love for them to tell me, because they write in their letters, "I love you, Grandma. I miss you. I want to see you."